I welcome everyone to this webinar, and it's a great thing. I think it is long overdue for us to talk about having safe food in this part of the world, especially in Nigeria. A lot of us patronize street foods. A lot of us visit the fast food restaurant, that is the QSR, and all we say is that we go there, we buy food, and they are presented to us in a very neat way. However, do we know that just because it is clean and neat, doesn't mean it is safe? Just because it is clean and neat and it is well presented, doesn't mean the food is safe. So today, I want to appreciate the organizer, Food Update Consult, for giving me the opportunity, the small me, to take this topic, 5 keys to safer foods, customer service provider relationship. I'll start by saying this. An incident occurred in the US about a decade ago, whereby people visited a restaurant and an outbreak occurred. Like 5 to 10 people that visited the restaurant had foodborne illnesses. And upon traceability, they get to know that it was from the food they ate from that particular restaurant. And that particular restaurant owner faced the law. And I think if it is from this part of the country, we'll be hearing that let's settle out of court, let's cover this because of my business sake. But in the other part of the world, it is not like that. So I think it is high time we also face this squarely and discuss about this. Not only in the quick service restaurant, not only in the food industry, but also in our home. A lot of things we do at home, we believe that it is right. Going by the way, saying our forefathers have been doing this before, so nothing happened to them. Then why can't we do it now? But let's remember, we don't have the same immune system they had then now. A lot of things have changed, from climatic change to weather to so many things. So we are not living the same age. So it's high time we have to move along with the changes. On this note, I welcome everyone to a virtual training on 5 keys to safer foods, customer service provider relationship. Hi, I'm Ifedayo Emmanuel, and I welcome everybody on board. Introduction. From the topic, we say 5 keys to safer foods. However, we can't talk about food safety without talking about a backbone that is responsible for food safety. And that is microorganism. Before we get to that point, unsafe food has been a human health problem since history was first recorded, and many food safety problems encountered today are not new. What does this mean? They do say there's a common saying that says that there's nothing new under the heaven again, which means that whatsoever illness, whatsoever outbreak that happened today has happened before, or similar thing. A very good example is the COVID-19 outbreak. Do we all know that when COVID-19 outbreak occurred, the point of call for WHO and the world at large, they all went back to 1918. That is the Spanish flu. The nose masks we are using today, that was one of those things they used in 1918 to curb the Spanish flu. So they had to bring it back because it worked then. Lot of steps before they discovered and get more knowledge about coronavirus. That was last year. They had to be using what were the corrective action steps that were used to curb Spanish flu in 1918. That's a century ago. So what am I saying in essence? There is nothing new There is no any foodborne illness that occurred now that has not happened in human history. It has been estimated that each year, 1.8 million people die as a result of diarrhea disease. And most of these cases can be attributed to contaminated food or water. This is the fact from WHO, that is World Health Organization. 1.8 million people died as a result of diarrhea. Diarrhea is one of the most common foodborne illness, especially in Nigeria and in the US. Do we know that more than 200 or 250 known diseases are transmitted through food? Name them, from cholera to diarrhea to lots of them. Also, do we also know that 48 million people get sick from foodborne illness yearly, of which 128,000 are hospitalized and about 3,000 or more of them died, according to a fact report from Center for Disease Control. That is USA. Let's bring it down to Nigeria. More than 1.5 million cases of foodborne illness per year are reported in Nigeria. More than 1.5 million cases. Remember that in Nigeria, if we say 1.5, that means it is an average. That means we are having about 2 million, about 3 million. So for reports to say that 1.5 million, so you should know that there are some that were not documented. You know, we lack data in this part of the world. So this thing is within us. Over 70,000 cases and almost 3,000 deaths from presumptive or confirmed cholera cases were reported between 2010 and 2013 in Nigeria. Now, the big question is, has cholera been eradicated in Nigeria? Are we free from diarrhea? And the answer is no. So it is high time we awaken ourselves on food safety principles. And WHO has helped us to slim this down to 5 Ks. Moving on. We'll be talking about foodborne illness. Before we can talk about foodborne illness, let's look at definition of foodborne illness and its related terms. Some of us, we mix foodborne illness with food intoxication, with food infection. From what we are seeing on our screen, foodborne illness is also known as food poisoning. It's also known as foodborne disease. And these are illness that results from ingestion of contaminated food. Food that has been contaminated by microorganisms. Food that has been contaminated by chemicals. Food that has been contaminated by toxins. Food that has been contaminated by physical hazards. Contaminated with pathogenic bacteria, viruses, parasites, chemical, or other potential food safety hazards. Remember, food safety hazard can come from 3 different sources: the physical, the chemical, and the physical. And of recent, there is one now, that is the radiant. That is radiation. Radiation is now coming up as soft. That is irradiation rather. We have remnants of all this residue. You know, we do food irradiation, all the likes of our microwave and others, to treat our food. Now, what is foodborne infection? This is caused by injection of food containing live bacteria. Foodborne infection. It is caused by injection of food containing live bacteria, which grow and establish themselves in human intestinal tract. What does this mean? Pathogenic bacteria, they are present in food. Then we inject them and they begin to grow. Now, as a result of this, foodborne infection can come up. Are we together? Now, foodborne intoxication. This is caused by ingesting food containing toxin. Now, let's get it clear. The first one was caused by consuming food that contain live microorganisms. That is the infection. But intoxication, it is caused by consuming food that contains toxin. Now, these toxins are formed by bacteria as a result of their growth. That means before there can be food intoxication, there must be food microbial toxin. Now, the live microorganism does not necessarily need to be present in that food. Let's say, for instance, I will give a very good example. When we have leftover eba, that is gari, at home, like for 3 days, then all of a sudden we now find out that it has started, a smucor, that is fungi, have started growing on the surface of the eba. We will say, it's just only one part. So let me cut that part off. It has not spread to the other part of the food. We are all guilty of this. Now, let's assume we cut that portion that we saw the visible toxin growth, fungi growth. Do you know that before you cut that portion off, that fungi could have released toxin into the eba? Now, you say you want to warm it. Good. You warm the eba or the gari or the fufu or the semo. You warm it, and you are presumed that they told us that once you have warmed it, then you have killed the microorganism. I'm sorry to say, yes, the temperature at which you warm that food, you might have killed the microorganism. But there is one thing you didn't kill. That is the toxin. Before you can inhibit the potency of toxin, you must get heat of about 238 degrees Celsius. Now, can you get 238 degrees Celsius of heat from your gas oven? Can you get that from your cooking gas, from your stove? The big answer is no. So that means you only kill the microorganism, you didn't kill the toxin. So food intoxication can occur by consuming food that has been contaminated by the toxin produced by growth of microorganisms. So we need to get it clear. We have been talking about foodborne illnesses. Before there can be foodborne illnesses, that means contamination might occur. The most one that we can control out of this source of contamination, which is we talked earlier, the physical, the chemical, and the biological. We can still be cautious of the physical. We can still protect ourselves against the chemical. How about the microbial? So let's look at food and microorganisms. The term microorganism does not necessarily depict bad or harmful or dangerous substance, as many of us presumed. For instance, you will be hearing, don't touch that, it contains microbes. Don't eat that food, there's microorganism. We might have heard so many things about microorganisms that they are bad. But no, not all of them are bad. Why? Because they have found important application in different fields: molecular and cell biology, agriculture, chemical industry, food industry, pharmaceutical industry. Microbes are used to produce lots of the medicine we are consuming today, all thanks to biotechnology. Ascorbic acid, sorbic acid, they are being produced through synthetic method using microorganisms. Many of us use penicillin at home. You can use microorganisms to produce penicillin. In the pharmaceutical industry, in the food industry, they found important application. Mr. Shedak, please, do you have the PowerPoint now? Hello, sir. Mr. Shedrack, are you with us? Can everyone see hear me? Hello, please, if you are hearing me, please raise up your hand. Just raise up your hand or you signify. Okay, thank you. Thank you for the update consult. Please, Mr. Shadrach, do you have the PowerPoint now? I'm not really comfortable with this PDF.
The admin is working on it.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Then I'll proceed. Now, we said they have found important application in the industry. Now, why are we now worried about microorganisms? If we say they are not dangerous, if we say they are good, they are friendly, they've helped us in the industry, then why worried about microorganisms? Why worried about microorganisms? Foods contain natural organic compounds and are rarely sterile. A lot of the food we eat today, especially from farm, they contain lots of microbial flora and they are not sterile. So you don't know which is good, which is bad. So that is why we have to be careful because they are mixed. They carry a mixed population of microorganisms derived from the natural microflora of different sources. So that is why we have to be worried. We also have to be worried because microorganisms are friendly and are also dangerous. So in this context, we will be concerned about the dangerous ones and let's lift their good parts. Because for our food to be safe, we have to learn and we have to be cautious of how to deal with these dangerous microorganisms.
Happy Sunday.
Next slide. Okay, arrow now. We cannot be moving one. Next. Next slide. We're on the next slide. Next arrow. Yeah, we've said it. They contain natural organic compounds and are rarely sterile. Next. They carry a mix of microflora, yes. Microorganisms contaminate food from harvesting to preparation to consumption. You see what we are saying? From harvesting to preparation to consumption. If you escape it in the course of harvesting, maybe you did proper washing, sanitization, and other things. In the course of preparing, if you are not careful, you will contaminate the food. As tedious as they are as well, as stubborn as microorganisms are, after you protecting them from contaminating your food while preparing, they can still contaminate it while consuming if you are not careful, if your environment is not neat, if the utensils you are using to eat is not neat. Not all microorganisms are beneficial, and some damage agricultural crops, causes disease in animals and humans, and produce poisonous toxins in food. Now, let me ask, should we now be worried about microorganisms or not? Yes, we should be worried about microorganisms. Classification of microorganisms associated with food. We have to get a very good explanation, like knowledge about these microbes, because by the time we get to how to keep our food safe, when you are seeing these microbes or you see us making reference to them, we won't be surprised. We won't be referring ourselves back again. The microbial groups associated with foods are the bacteria. We all know the bacteria, the fungi, the protozoa, the algae, and the viruses. The bacteria, we have the good one. We know we have different classes of bacteria. We have the gram-negative and the gram-positive. We have the spoilage microorganisms with the bacteria. We have those ones that are used for fermentation. That is the fermentative bacteria. They could be, but we are not going into the deep microbiology today. Microorganisms may be classified into 3 groups according to their activities. Next arrow. 1, beneficial. That's okay. Beneficial microorganisms. These are microorganisms that have found. These are microorganisms that have found good importance. That have found good importance in industry. Industry like the food industry, like the pharmaceutical industry. The food industry, let's remember our yogurt. We all know our yogurt. For us to get good yogurt, we need starter culture. And the starter culture contains mixed. We all know our streptococcus and our thermophilus. We all know that they use them for the starter culture. Now, spoilage microorganisms. They can also be classified as spoilage microorganisms. So microorganisms, they don't have anything to do just to spoil our food. Mind us, they can spoil our food, but might not necessarily cause disease. The next one, pathogenic microorganisms. These are the common ones that cause disease. They release pathogens in our food, and if we consume the pathogens, they cause diseases. Next slide, please. Yes, from here, common microorganisms associated with food illness. The bacteria, that is the Bacillus cereus, Campylobacter jejuni, Clostridium perfringens, Clostridium botulinum. The common one we know, Clostridium botulinum, associated with canned food. And this is what we use in the food industry in order for you to know if you have achieved commercial sterility at pH of 4.5. If you do sterilization for your canned product and you do, this is the test. You have to test for CB, Clostridium botulinum. Clostridium botulinum might not survive at a pH of 4.5. So if they are there, they cause disease known as botulism. And botulism is a very acute disease that can kill within short period of time. Escherichia coli. These are fecal related. Lot of us, we want to boil egg, and once we see the feces, that is the egg, the chicken dropping on our egg. All we do is for us to wash. See, this is a very good hint. Once you see feces, that is the animal dropping on your egg, please, a very good advice, do not wash it immediately. If you are washing it, you have chances of pushing those droppings into your egg. Remember, the eggshell has pore space. You might be washing 99%, but 1% might enter. And that 1% can be responsible or be enough to cause food poisoning. So what are you going to do? Once you find out that your egg contains droppings, all you need to do is get oil, paraffin, then or a damp cloth, wipe it off first before you wash. So you reduce the microbial load. Don't just wash directly. And also, it is not advisable for us to cook raw egg with our food. We do this at home. If you want to cook rice and boil egg, when you are boiling the rice, you put your egg inside. Let's be cautious of this. It's advisable to boil your egg separate and you boil your rice separate. We have the viruses, hepatitis A, the Norwalk virus, the rotavirus, and the norovirus. The parasites and all others. These are that are associated with food illness. Next slide, please. The top 5 germs that cause illness from food eating. The norovirus species. Next. The salmonella, we all know. Clostridium perfringens. The Campylobacter, we remember our Campylobacter jejuni. That's a very good example. Staphylococcus aureus, that's our staph. These are the top 5. This is gotten from Center for Disease Control. It's not from me. Research has backed this up. Next slide, please. Yeah, this is a table that tells us organism that is common microorganisms associated with food. Here we have Bacillus cereus. Their common name, they cause food poisoning. How do they occur? Within 10 to 16 hours. If you consume Bacillus cereus, you are going to start having abdominal cramps, watery diarrhea, nausea, and within duration of 24 to 48 hours, it can manifest. How do we get them? Food sources like meat, stews, gravies, and vanilla sauces. Campylobacter jejuni that I mentioned the other time. Within 2 to 5 days, they will start after ingesting. Are we together? Now let's look at Escherichia coli. Can you see? Within 1 to 3 days. Now, watery diarrhea. We begin to have watery diarrhea. We have abdominal cramp. We have sometimes you may vomit, sometimes you may not vomit. Within 3 to 7 days or more, you may suffer that. Food sources, water, food contaminated with human feces. I mentioned it. They are fecal pollution. They are fecal contaminants. Next slide, please. What microorganism needs to grow? Next, arrow. Most microorganisms grow by multiplication. They don't grow in size just like humans, just like other animals. Like they grow from 2 meters up, then you begin to have big body and others. No, microorganism grows by multiplication. That is, if your natural microorganism contains about 10,000, within 1 hour, microorganism might contain 1 million. To multiply, microorganisms need the following. They need food sources, that is nutrients. They need water. Some microorganisms, they grow very well in the presence of water, while some grows in absence of water. They also need time. That is infection time, the time for them to start growing. Some will take about 2 hours, some will take about days to manifest. And temperature. Some will grow at a conducive temperature, while some grow at a certain temperature. A very good example there, you have what we are having there is the microbial growth curve. But remember, we are not doing deep microbiology today, but to remind us of all this. Meat sources, that is meat, seafood, cooked rice, cooked pasta, meat, cheese, are all sources and are all good sources for microorganisms to grow. Next slide, please. Now, the main thing for the day. 5 keys to safer food. Before we go into this, I believe with this little slide I have shown, it has opened our mind to some microorganisms that are related to foodborne illnesses. What we need to watch out for, what we need to be cautious of. Next slide, please. We can't talk about food safety. We can't talk about safer food without talking about food safety. It is impossible. Because all what we are bothering about is food safety. Next. Yeah, just like I said, next arrow, we can't talk about the case of achieving food without talking about it, because all what we'll be discussing are ways to achieve safer food. That is food safety. Next. Now, the big question is, what is food safety? Food safety refers to handling, preparing, storing food in a way to best reduce the risk of individuals becoming sick from foodborne illness. Let's look at it. Handling. Can we see handling, preparing, and storing? Handling, preparing, and storing in a way to best reduce the risk. That means we are all liable to get foodborne illnesses. But with the help of good food safety principles and practice, we can reduce the risk from about, for like 50, we can reduce it to 5%. Next slide, please. Please don't go yet. Don't go yet. Just hold on, please. Admin, please wait. Now, before we proceed, class activity. I would like to ask this question. Please, if you know the answer, just drop it on the chat box, or you raise up your hand, you are mute, then we allow you to talk. Are we all together? What was 2020 World Food Safety Day theme? What was 2020 World Food Safety Day theme? Who knows the answer? The chat room is open. I'm waiting. Can everyone hear me? What was 2020 World Food Safety Day theme? Is there no one? We have food safety champions in the house. I can see names. Should I start calling names? You can raise up your hand or mute yourself and answer the question. From Mrs. Sylvia Oates saying, everyone's business. What is everyone's business? Is it Amebo or Aproko or NSAS or good governance? Okay, Mr. Nuruddin Abiru is telling us that food safety, everyone's business. Who else? Nice one. Food safety champions in the house. 2020 World Food Safety Day theme. I need 3 more people to talk, then we proceed. Let's see if we're right. Is there no one else? Okay. Yeah. Food safety, everyone business. Mrs. Kikaloma Moriolua, food safety, everyone business. Mrs. Tikra Tayodele Soyo, Mr. Food safety, everyone business. That is good. Now, admin next. Admin next arrow. Let's see if we are right. Let's echo together. The theme for 2020 World Food Safety Day says, food safety, everyone business. A round of applause for everybody that got it right. Now, as you can now say that you and I have a role to play in food safety because it is my business and it is your business. Food safety, everyone's business. Next slide, please. Food safety, chemical hazard. Next, remember the previous one we talked about the biological hazard that is related to food safety, that's microorganisms. Now, let us remind ourselves as well that people also get sick from poisonous chemicals, which include, admin, we have toxins, we have unused, improper use of food additives. Admin, can you roll the next slide? Improper use of chemicals. Admin, we are waiting for you. Improper use of using pesticides to control your food just because you don't want insects. Yes, we made mention of natural toxin. Next one. I will give us, we have metals. Next one. We have chemical use for cleaning. Can we roll? Improper use of food additives, improper use of pesticides, environmental pollutants. Next. We have one to go. Now, let me give a very good example of natural toxin. How many of us do wanted to purchase sweet potato? Sweet potato, we all know sweet potato, right? Now, in potato, you will find out that a certain part of potato often looks green. Like not all the potato, but some, you will see them that they have green coloration. If you peel them, you look inside, it is still green. That is a very good example of natural toxin. And that is solanine. A good one is solanine from potato. Another one is hydrazine, which is very poisonous from mushroom. That is why it is not all species of mushroom that you can consume. Reason why we have the edible mushroom and the inedible mushroom. We have metals. Lot of us will say, I want to cook beans. So I have to put, they will not start putting nails to cook beans, or they put nails to tenderize meat. Also, chemical used for cleaning, improper labeling. Next slide, please. Improper use of food additives. Additive that is meant to be used for preservative. You are using it as flavor enhancement. Is that possible? Now, we are now in our main business. 5 keys to safer food. Key 1, keep it clean. That is number 1. It is only cleanness that can make us cleanness is one of the major ways for us to have a very safe food. Just because something looks clean does not mean that it is clean. Just because it looks well presented doesn't mean it is safe. Next arrow. Now look at this fact. It takes over 2.5 billion bacteria. I repeat, 2.5 billion bacteria to make 250 ml of water to look cloudy. You know what that means? For you to know that this water contains physical examination, that it is dirty, that it contains microorganisms, it will take 2.5 billion bacteria. In some cases, it takes only 15 to 20 pathogenic bacteria to make one of us sick. Just 15 to 20. Not until you consume a lot. Next arrow. How to keep clean to attain safe food. What are the ways? Arrow, please. You have to make sure that you get your water from a very good source. You have to make sure that you wash it very well. Your raw materials must be thoroughly washed. Next arrow, please, admin. Next, let's roll on. Wash your hands before handling food or often during food preparation. Once you know that you are preparing food and you touch raw food, please wash your hands before you touch ready to eat food. You are making salad and you want to prepare chicken. You want to make chicken salad. Now you are the one that prepared the chicken to make your salad. After cutting your chicken breast or any form of chicken you use, after grilling it, before you cut that lettuce, before you cut that cabbage, before you cut that tomato, please wash your hand. If not, you will transmit the raw bacteria that is present in that food, that is the chicken you touch, into the ready-to-eat salad. Remember, you will not cook your lettuce, you will not cook your cabbage if you want to make your salad. You will not cook your coleslaw. They are all meant for direct consumption. Wash your hands after going to toilet. Toilet is a breeding place for microorganisms. Even though you just pee, wash your hands. Wash and sanitize all surface. Now, let's get it clear. There is difference between cleaning and sanitization. What most of us practice is cleaning. Just because you clean doesn't mean it is free from microorganisms. It only reduces it. However, for us to be sure that we are 80% free from microorganisms, after cleaning, we must sanitize. Sanitization kills microorganisms. Cleaning only reduces their microbial loads. Are we together? Next, hand washing techniques. A lot of us don't know how to wash hands. If you look at this, you are expected to wet your hands with water, then apply soap, rub palms in between. Rub palm between your fingers interface. Rub the back of each end. Please, next slide. I think I have a video there on hand washing techniques. It's just so unfortunate that my system is down. I will have, yes. Please play. Let's watch how to wash our hands. It's just like a 1 minute video. It's not up to 1 minute itself. Please just click on play. Done next. Okay, can you see that lady? It has audio. Please, let's listen. Thank you very much. Do we all see the process? How many of us wash our hands that way? How many of us washes our hands that way? Next slide, admin. Admin, next slide so that we run through. Now we are on key 2. For us to achieve safer food, we have to separate raw food from cooked food. Lots of us, we will keep fresh meat in the same freezer. Yes, if you cannot afford 2 freezers, but there are ways you keep raw food below and cooked food above. If you are using a standing fridge or if you are using a slant freezer, put them in different compartments. Separate raw poultry, seafood from other food. Use separate equipment and utensils such as knives and cutting board for handling raw food. Now, for us that works in the kitchen, or for most of us that practice at home, or it is advisable for us to use, especially our chopping board. There's something we call color coding board. You can get like 3 different boards. You decide that one will be used for raw foods, one will be used for ready to eat, your salad, and one will be used for partially cooked food. Like you avoid your meat, you want to cut into pieces, you use one. You want to cut your vegetables, you use another one. It is not the one you use for raw food that you will use to cut your ready to eat. It serves as a source of contamination. Store food in containers to avoid contact between raw and prepared food. Don't put them in containers, different compartments. Next slide. Next. While you are chopping, you went to ShopRite or you went to Agege market, you went to Abia market or anywhere. Once you buy your raw meat, don't keep it together with your vegetable. You want to cook efo, then you now bought meat from meat seller. You bought vegetable from the woman that sells vegetable. Then you put everything in one nylon or in one basket. That is very, very wrong. Separate them. Store raw meat, seafood, and poultry below cooked food. Or all ready to eat must be above to prevent cross-contamination if you don't have different freezer. And for us, the customer service provider, that is restaurant operations, it is advisable for you to have different freezer, that is cold storage system, from your cooked food to your raw food. A lot of us, you parboil your chicken or you pre-cook your meat before you serve because it is quick service. This is the earlier preparation you make. Yes, it is good, but ensure they are kept in a different freezer entirely. Your raw product must not come in contact with your finished product. Please use color coding chopping board. We've said that earlier. Liquid used for marinating. See, this is very, very important. Are we all together? Some of us we used to marinate our meat, our chicken, our turkey, our beef, so that before we grill. Now, after grilling, you have killed the microorganism. Yes, I agree. But some of us now went ahead, go ahead to use the water that was used for marinating. That is the juice. Because you want to have cream, then you now apply it again on already cooked food. What you have just done is you have just recontaminated your food. It is a very, very bad practice. Don't do that. If you have been doing that, don't do it again. Next slide, admin. Let's move fast so that we can roll through. Now, we are at key 3. This is very, very important. We are all advised to cook our food thoroughly. Admin, please wait. We are all advised to cook our food thoroughly. Are we all seeing the pictures on our screen? Now, look at the first. Please, let's zoom in. Please zoom in so that you can see the first picture on the left, where you have rare, medium, and well. These are steak. They are beef steak. Please zoom in. Have we all zoomed in? Okay. Now, please let's zoom in on the first picture by the left. Now, the key is telling us to cook our food thoroughly. Lot of us like, I will use steak. I use this picture for example because we go to the restaurant and we tell the chef or we tell the waiter that I want it rare done. The first set of meat is rare done. And for you to have a rare done meat, that means it was grilled at 49 degrees Celsius. 49 degrees Celsius. That temperature is never sufficient enough to kill any raw microorganism. It's not. Lots of microorganisms will still be present there. And WHO has advised us to ensure that our foods are cooked at least to the temperature of 71 degrees Celsius. This is when we regard our food to be safe to eat. Our meat or any other raw food. The medium well done was grilled at 60 degrees Celsius. Now, looking at the well done, 71 degrees Celsius. That is the one I prefer. But let's be sincere with ourselves. If we are talking about taste, the one you will have a better taste or the best taste among them is the medium done. Yes, is what I do. So, but despite the fact that I want good taste, that doesn't mean I should compromise my safety. So I always go for well done. Then the taste can now be enhanced with a very good steak sauce. Then we are good to go. Looking at the second picture, rare done meat. Can you see it? If you zoom in, you can still see stream of like red coloring. That is blood, fresh blood, that contains tons of microorganisms. The third picture is a well done grilled beef. That is a steak, well done. And that is the one that is safe to eat. It's advisable for us to cook our food above the temperature of 71 degrees Celsius. How do you know this? It is advisable for us, especially the industry, the restaurant owners, the chef. You are expected to have a thermometer probe that you are going to use to test the internal temperature of your chicken, of your beef, of your fish before you decide that it is safe to consume. Arrow, please. Let's roll. Studies have shown that cooking food to a temperature of 71 degrees Celsius can help ensure it is safe for consumption. I said it earlier. It is fact-based. It is science-proven. 71 degrees Celsius. Anything less is a no-no. According to the United States Department of Agriculture, it recommends that steaks and roast meat must be cooked at least made done. That is medium done, 65 degrees Celsius. Not rare done. If you consume rare done, it's at your own risk. Then we tested for at least 3 minutes. To ensure food safety, ground beef should be cooked to a minimum of 71 degrees Celsius. That is well done. So we are advised for us to have a safe food. It is advisable we cook our food thoroughly. However, not till you cook and diminish all the nutrients, especially for vegetable. If you are cooking vegetable with little blanching, you can inactivate microorganism, and with little cooking of 3 to 5 minutes, you can kill the microorganism. It is not the type of microorganism that is present in vegetable that is present in beef or raw meat, so that we won't lose the main reason why we won't just be eating fiber. Our vitamin C, our water soluble, and heat sensitive nutrients are still intact. Some of the nutrients are heat labile. If we expose them to so much heat, they are going to be destroyed. Now, look at that picture. Before that chef removed the chicken from the oven, that is, if you zoom in, that is a thermometer probe. It's checking the temperature to ensure that it attains its accurate temperature before it decides that yes, it is safe for consumption. Admin, next slide. Admin, next slide, please. Okay, thank you, ma'am. So moving on, we are looking, let's not forget that we are looking at 5 keys to safer foods. We have done key 1, key 2, key 3, and this key 4. Key 1, we said we should keep it clean. It must be clean. It must be safe. Key 2, we said we should separate raw from cooked. Key 3, cook it thoroughly. Key 4, keep food at safe temperature. We are all guilty of this. Like, every one of us are guilty of this. A lot of us are not aware of the temperature danger zone. We are not aware of the temperature danger zone. We will talk about that. How to keep food safe at safe temperature. Some food are meant to be kept at a cold temperature, and if you want to keep your food warm, you keep it at a certain temperature. There's a particular temperature range that if you leave your food at that temperature, no matter how long you'll be cooking that food, no matter the temperature at which you cook that food, cook it at 100 degrees Celsius, cook it at 145 degrees Celsius. Once you leave it open, you leave it at this temperature range, your food is susceptible to be contaminated. Promptly cool and store food. All leftover, if you can't finish your food, immediately keep them in the refrigerator. Prepare food in small amounts to reduce the amount of leftovers. In a nutshell, the less leftover you have, the better food you have. That is the better way, the lesser you have to control or you have to store more in your freezer or your cold storage. Leftover food should not be stored in the refrigerator for longer than 3 days. Remember, leftover food, you cook today and you couldn't finish it, you say you eat it the next day. It's good. Keep it in the refrigerator, but ensure you eat it the next day. After 3 days, dispose them off. It is no more safe to eat. Store food in the refrigerator and other cool locations. That is, make sure you store your food naturally. If you want to make beef at 7 p.m., bring it out from the freezer and put it in the refrigerator since 3 p.m. so that it's going to thaw naturally. Why? If you thaw food using microwave, it has advantage, it has disadvantage. The heat might not circulate round and leave some fat not stored. Then still have some microbes stored there. And also, it may also have some spent residue. Also, if you keep it open or if you use any plastic container at very high temperature, they may transfer some chemicals that can affect our health. So it is not advisable. And if you want to do it, make sure it is rolling evenly. Next slide, please. Can you see that woman? The way she's storing her food. Look at her refrigerator. So neat. Let's roll. Now, can we zoom in this picture, please? Let's zoom in that picture. There is a message in that picture. That refrigerator you are seeing. At the top, you are advised. At the top of the fridge has an average temperature of 7 degrees Celsius, making it ideal for storing your butter and your cheese. The middle of the fridge maintains the optimal temperature of 4 to 5. That is for your fresh fish, your cooked meat, your egg, your dairy, your cream, your yogurt can be kept at that temperature. The lower level has a temperature of about 3 degrees Celsius, and it is meant for your raw meat and your cheese. Admin, I can't see screen again. Now, talking about this temperature zone, the temperature danger zone is from 5 degrees Celsius to 63 to 65 degrees Celsius. What does this mean? It means that if you cook food now and you want to store it, it is either you store below 5 degrees Celsius, that is 5 degrees Celsius, 4 degrees, 3 degrees for refrigeration, or below 0 degrees. That is freezing. That is freezing. Why? Because some microorganisms, salmonellosis is bacterial infection. Litter metastasis are type of this. All this. Now, I'm talking about temperature zone. Yeah, I'm talking about temperature zone. Between 5 to 10 to 60 degrees Celsius. If you leave your food between 5 to 60, you are exposing your food to high contamination by microbes. Also, so it is advisable for us to keep it at refrigerating temperature of 5 degrees Celsius or minus 18 degrees C for freezing. How do you achieve this? Thermometer. Make sure you have a good thermometer. If you are in a restaurant, if you are working in the kitchen, please have a good thermometer to take the temperature. To take the temperature of your freezer every day. This is a quality control check. If you're also in the food manufacturing industry, the FSCMG, if you are storing food, raw food, it is the responsibility of the QC to take the temperature of the refrigerating of the cold storage system at time interval. Next slide, please. Now, you save water and raw material. Sorry, this should be our last key. I think there is an error there. This should be key 5. I think there is an error from this. This should be key 5. Yes, I'm right. I'm sorry. This is not the updated version of this stuff of the presentation. So this was not fully edited. So this is the last key. Yeah, thank you. Now, yes, I said it. This is key 5. So before I move to key 5, let me just summarize key 4. Key 4 says, keep your food at temperature. If you see, for the rest, that is why you see. That's why you see if you go for dining or if you go for what do we call this now? Buffet. You will see a flame underneath. It is not only to keep the food warm just for warming sake. It is to keep the food at that temperature of 60 degrees Celsius and above, so that microorganisms will not survive. They won't grow. And at home as well, please, let's practice this. 5 degrees Celsius for refrigeration and below. Once you want to keep it warm, 60 degrees, 63, 65 and above, please. Now, key 5. Key 5 says that you save water and raw material. Can you see the picture of that tomato? Sorry to say, our mommy, our daddy will give you money to go to market and buy tomato ingredients for soup. Because the rotten one, that is not the unwholesome one, is cheaper. Then you have to go for it. No. Look at mold growing all over. Look at bacteria. This is not safe for consumption. Next slide, please. How to select safe raw material. Raw material include water, ice, and may be contaminated or may have dangerous microorganisms and chemicals. So if we are not careful, it is garbage in, garbage out. If you have a poor raw material, then forget it. You may not have a very safe food. Select fresh and wholesome food in the market. Don't go for a sharp. Don't go for an wholesome one. Avoid food that is damaged or rotting. A good example is the picture we are seeing there. Next arrow. Admin, let's move. Choose food processed for safety, e.g. pasteurized milk. Don't just take raw milk and it is not fermented, it is not processed, it is not pasteurized. They just say it is raw. You take it direct from the udder of the cow and use it to cook. It is not safe. Wash your fruits and vegetables with safe water. Not anyhow water, safe water. Do not use food after its shelf life date. Maybe it is not expiring date. It is best before. It is not advisable to use food after its shelf life date. Please. Next slide, please. We are rounding up. I think I have just 2 more slides to go. Admin, next slide. Now, as we have said, we are coming to conclusion now. Key 1 says that we should keep it clean. Key 2 says we separate raw material from cooked food. And key 3 says we should cook it thoroughly. Key 4 says we should keep it at safe temperature. And key 5 says that we should use good raw material, save raw material, and save water. At this end, tell someone beside you that it is my responsibility. It is your responsibility to ensure we achieve food safety. Why? Because food safety is everyone's business. Rounding up. Next. On this note, I come to the conclusion and rounding up. I am Ifedayo Emmanuel, and I appreciate everyone for not looking at a small me to take this class, and I appreciate Food Consult as well for giving me the privilege to come and express one of my passion, to express, to impact knowledge, to transmit knowledge about food safety, which I love doing so much. Thank you for listening.